I know you guys said that you don't need me to stay, but I think I'm just gonna wait anyway.
You guys broke up. I'm not sure why you're here. You don't have to worry about being committed to anything, Camille. You didn't want to when she was awake. There's no need to do it when she's unconscious.
Well, it's more complicated than that.
You really don't have to stay, Camille. You have already done.
I'm just gonna stay for a second. Is this seat? Okay. Is that lady still looking at me?
It's such an extraordinary story and such a funny way you did it, and that you both co-wrote it and told your own stories. And just tell me how that idea came about, that you would do this together and go that deep to tell your own personal story like this.
Well, what happened was we'd met Judd Apatow, he's a comedy producer in town.
Oh, is that right? Look him up. He's going to be huge.
So we'd met Judd Apatow actually at South by Southwest in Austin, and we'd sort of hit it off. And he said, "Do you have any ideas for movies?" And I sort of had a meeting with him, and I had a bunch of ideas. One was I had an idea about a ghost witch.
It's a terrible idea, guys.
Let me pitch it. Don't. It's a ghost witch. She was a witch who died and then comes back as a ghost. And he said, "Do you have any other ideas?" And then I told him our story of how we'd met and when we first were dating, that she was in a coma for a few months, for a few days. And he said, that's it. We'll do the ghost witch one later.
It's very intense to have your personal story kind of be a thing that you're going to show to other people and have other people weigh in on. So I really wanted to, I kind of had to think about it for a bit. And then, yeah, we decided to write it together. We wrote drafts for about 3 years just on our own, showing that to Judd Apatow and Barry Mendel, our producers.
A love story where the main a female character is in a coma most of the movie is an unusual idea.
It's an unusual way to live.
Yeah. And the truth of it, it's so funny and touching at the same time. You managed to get the tone, which is so difficult in a movie like this.
Kumail was doing stand-up, and he asked if anyone in the audience was from Pakistan. I thought it would be funny to just make a little woohoo sound. And we argue about whether or not that was helpful or...
We have had
that conversation many, many times. So that is exactly how we met. We changed a lot of stuff, but that is exactly how we met.
One thing we changed in that scene is later in that scene, to impress her, I write her name in Urdu, which is the language we speak in Pakistan. And in the movie, she's like, "How many girls have you tried this on? Does this move work?" Like, she calls me on it.
Whereas in real life, it worked hook, line, and sinker. It really worked.
And it wasn't for like months. We'd been sort of dating, and she'd been telling people, like, it was so romantic, he did this. And then a few months in, I'd be like, "Honey, I have something to tell you. You weren't the first one I did that with."
Just picture women throughout the Chicago area with little napkins with their name written in Urdu. We really wanted to approach it as a movie rather than kind of just a documentary of our lives. So where I talked to my parents and I talked to Kumail, and it was actually really helpful because I had been so focused on myself during that period that I had never really spoken to them about, like, what was every single day like? What time were you getting there? When would you eat lunch? Like, what was happening? So that was actually really helpful on a personal level to just kind of talk to my husband and my parents about what that time was like. But we really, really wanted to dig into like, as far as we could take it, of how awkward that situation could be. So whereas it was kind of awkward, I imagine, to be with...
It was really awkward.
We thought, okay, we have this character of Kumail, who would be the most kind of, who would be the hardest people for him to have to sit in a room with for long stretches of time. So, and it kind of came from that. We just started writing based on that idea of a guy who's kind of uses humor to deflect, isn't direct, isn't good at communicating, with these two parents who, in their separate ways, are really, really good at communicating very directly. And that's kind of where a lot of those scenes came from.
Are you guys planning on writing together, working as a team again?
Yeah.
We'll get the band back together.
Yeah. I thought we worked really well together. We, as writers, complement each other really well. And honestly, writing together was really wonderful for our relationship as well.